5:01.
That's a question.
And having a quorum, I would like to call the Wednesday, November 12th, Public Safety and Licensing Committee to order. First thing I'd like to do is introduce ourselves. There are a couple of aldermen that are not here yet, but they will be. So we can start with the alderman with the U.S. Army.
Alderman Frazier, First District.
Alden Kelly, District 13.
Sandy Widener, 6th District, and then we have staff here starting down at the far end. Women's Violet, Customer Service Clerk's Office.
Sam Williams, Deputy Clerk.
Assistant City Attorney Ian Pomplin. Sergeant Cruz with the City of Racine Police Department.
That's everyone. Okay. So the first item of business would be the approval of the minutes from the October 29th, 2025 meeting.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion to approve the minutes from October 29th. Any discussion, corrections, additions? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes then. Noemi will be reading off each of the items as they come up on the agenda.
No space today.
Oh, okay.
Item 1090-25, communication submitting a new application for a Class B retail fermented malt beverage and intoxicating liquor license for Reese's Event Planning, LLC, doing business as Reese Event Planning, LLC, located at 1962 Taylor Avenue, Gregory Moore, Agent, 11th District.
Mr. Moore, would you like to come up to the podium? Thank you and good evening. First item would be for the city attorney to swear you in.
You can raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. You can put your hand down, and then if you could state your full name.
Gregory Moore.
Thank you.
Okay, and does the attorney's office want to present first, or should we have Mr. Moore tell us what he plans to do?
I can present very briefly. We had a Good Neighbors meeting on November 5th. In which multiple departments were present to talk to Mr. Moore about his business plans and some common concerns that occur with bars. I wrote a Good Neighbors report that is with the agenda and in your packets. The only thing that I would highlight in this report is the conditional use permit issue. Mr. Moore and his business have to go before Planning, Heritage, and Design Commission on November 17th to receive a conditional use permit to operate. If they do not receive that permit, they could not operate in this space, so that if it is the will of this committee to issue the license, that it be issued as a conditional license pending him actually opening.
And can you clarify for the committee and everyone what type of license Mr. Moore is applying for?
Yes, so he is applying for what we call a Big B license that allows for both beer and intoxicating liquor on premises.
So do we have, Mr. Moore, would you like to tell us what you plan to do at, what was it,
62 Taylor Avenue.
Say again?
1962 Taylor Avenue.
Okay, thank you.
So it's just a small event space where people will host small events, private events actually, with liquor being served there. We plan on only operating till midnight, so we wouldn't go past bar hours, just until midnight.
So this building previously was not a bar. Isn't that the building that was a laundromat?
It's been a number of things before I bought it, but I purchased it last December. When I purchased it, I guess it was, I don't know what it was before that, but they were using it for entertainment purposes, so I'm not sure. It's zoned for a bar, but I don't want to operate a bar.
Anything else you want to tell us about your business?
No, ma'am.
And I know you have a lot of information here in your packet.
I do.
Any questions from the committee members?
First of all, I apologize for being 4.5 minutes late,
Forgive us.
beyond my control. Anyway, maybe I missed it, but congratulations for taking the entrepreneurial spirit that you're taking. I may have missed it, but what type of experience do you have for the venture that you're wanting to undertake?
I have a lot of entrepreneurial experience. I've been a business owner Racine for over 15 years. As far as event planning, I've worked at bars and event spaces before.
So, and again, I apologize if I'm rehashing with our questions that have already been discussed. But, how are you planning on controlling, your business or making sure that it doesn't have any problems? I'll start off being general as,
So when I
like that.
purchased the building, it had a trouble pass already. I went actually through the neighborhood and kind of introduced myself to my neighbors. We did build like a privacy fence, so if there is an event, that people are at the event, it wouldn't bother the neighbors. These are also, small events that are private events, so, they wouldn't get out of hand. They're not gonna go past midnight anyway. So, any event that it's a rowdy crowd, I will always have staff there, so we'll shut it down right away.
you mentioned one thing that is visual and auditory. And being on this committee and other committees, part of public safety is the noise factor. I could point in almost any direction where establishments, have had that complaint. The neighbors are like, well, you're next door to me, the auditory level, and because of the demographics of Racine City, you might have somebody in bed at 9 o'clock at night, and we have to at least respect where they're coming from.
Yep.
And respecting you as an entrepreneur.
Absolutely. So I'll always respect my neighbors. Like I said, I went door to door and introduced myself. We don't plan on going past midnight, but in the event that noise is out of control, we'll have staff there during business hours, so we will shut it down. If we need to call the police, then we will, but hopefully, we can be able to contain it within ourselves.
Have you had any how did your neighbors respond to this? And again, if you paid any attention to the city, you can appreciate where I'm coming from.
I do. They respond, like I said, I've been a business owner for over 15 years in Racine. They responded well. That's why I went door to door to introduce myself, because the previous owner said that it had a trouble pass. So I went door to door and introduced myself to people. And I've actually been there since last December, and I get along really well with my neighbors.
Thank you, sir, for
And they
being,
have my phone number as well.
that's important, thank you.
I have a couple questions.
Okay.
On your application, you say that the kind of music you'll have, you're gonna have a DJ and you're gonna have other. What kind of other music are you
So,
gonna have?
there is like a Bluetooth speaker kind of thing that people can utilize, within the space, if that's, I don't know if that makes sense.
And then you say this is for events like, I think.
Like baby showers,
baby
like
showers.
birthday dinners and that kind of thing. It's like no team parties or, anything like wild like that.
Well, here's what my concern is
Okay.
because you say that food will be catered there, but I don't see anywhere on the floor plan where there's a kitchen area or.
So there's not a kitchen area, so, when I talked to the health department, she said that because there's not a kitchen area, people brought their own food in. I guess that's what I would have to use, the health, that's why the health department is gonna regulate it. We don't have a caterer, people would have to use who they use, but she said that if we were gonna use certain caterers, I would have to make sure that they are approved through the health department. I talked to somebody from the health department at the Good Neighbors meeting.
Okay, and then you only have one bathroom, so I imagine it's gonna be gender neutral?
It is, it's a gender neutral bathroom. And it's for small events too, it's not like for huge crowds or anything like that.
Well, you never know what kind of crowd's gonna show up.
That's true.
When you open a place and it
That's true.
has alcohol served, so,
That's true.
that's the reason for these questions is, you say it's not a bar, but it could turn into a bar.
So that's where we would,
Madam Chair? Okay, we all know where exactly the location, and you can appreciate, everybody in the room can appreciate why I'm getting ready to ask this question. There are buildings, I'll put it that way, establishments, businesses in that area between south of 16th Street, almost to the major street, east cross street, where you're in between. There are a lot of issues in that area. You probably already covered, but we want you to make sure you are prepared to address those issues.
yeah, so I
If
can.
you want me to be more specific, or anybody else does, I will.
No, you don't have to, but I can address issues at other facilities.
I'm talking about what's going on. I'm not gonna call out anybody.
Yeah, no,
I don't play that.
so,
But you know what's going on over there.
I don't.
You don't?
No, I mean, it's a lot of trouble places in Racine altogether, but.
Well, I'm talking about specifically in your area. I can't, it's not appropriate for me to name any businesses next door, a few blocks down the street
So what are
from
you
you.
asking me?
I'm asking you, how are you planning on deal with the potentials for issues that can come up in that area?
We only,
They're there, let me put it this way to get to the point. We have something called nuisance, laws and what have you. All I'm trying to say is we're talking about safety. We know that there's some concerns in that area, and we want to make sure you're prepared to address them. And I appreciate your courage, but you're getting ready to take a big step. That's all I'm saying.
no, I understand. Yep, so we just control our area, and like I said, it's something that our staff should be able to control, and if not, if we had to reach out to the police. At the Good Neighbor meet, he told me that we should reach out to the police if we need to.
Thank you very much.
No problem.
Kelly?
Mr. Moore, what other type of businesses and in what areas, nearby in the city?
So I'm a nurse. I own some adult family homes. I also teach like CBRF courses. I own a couple of properties in Racine.
The reason why I ask that is because I'm actually very familiar with one of your establishments. It is in my district,
Okay.
and it had gotten to a level of a nuisance property.
Okay.
Cup parties, it was quality of life issues in my district, and it took me a very long time to finally get that under control with the help of the city. So
which
from
property is
what I've seen spill out of that building and all over the neighborhood in the time that, from when it used to be a chiropractor place till now, just from seeing that, on that face, I can't,
Okay, so that was a business that was, managed by somebody else, and we got it under control rather quickly, actually, because now that's my office.
So I have some other concerns about the premise, because it was not set up to be a bar, it was not set up to have food catered in there. I don't see any sink or anything there as a bar area. I just see where you have a bar with some shelves, where you're gonna have the liquor, but
So there is a sink there, there's a bar there, that was all there when I bought it.
there was a bar there?
It's a bar in there, they were running like, they had like after sets or something, I don't know what they were doing there, but there was a bar there, it was there when I bought it. And it's, like I said, it's owned for a bar.
Well, what is the pleasure of the committee? Any other questions for Mr. Moore? There are several items that will have to take place before he would be granted the license. He has to work with the health department, he has to go before the zoning board, plan
But
commission.
if he needs a special permit,
Yep,
conditional use permit.
yep, and then, and my concern is this location has been used in the past for illegal after-hours bar, and I just don't understand the need to serve hard liquor for an event standing place that is going to have baby showers and birthday parties. But that's my personal opinion, and I'm old.
Can I speak on that? There's several events, places that have liquor. I have nothing to do with what was going on before I purchased the property. So I can't pick up or even speak on what was going on before I bought the property. I can just speak to since I purchased it.
So we have two new arrivals that did not have a chance yet to introduce themselves. Pete, want to go ahead? Introduce yourself to folks.
Alderman Samuel Pete, 10th District.
Alderman Nathan Pavon, 15th District.
Everybody here. Okay. So just to catch you up, is that we are on the first item, Mr. Moore and his request for a Class B liquor license for his event planning facility. Anything from the police department on this?
Like you mentioned before, that used to be an after set, where after bar, they used to hang out. In reference to him personally, I don't know how he runs his business, but I know that's been a hangout spot that has caused issues in the past. I'm not exactly sure what's gonna happen in the future, but I know that's just been a spot that we had issues with.
So I guess my question, maybe the chief can answer this. What happens in the case of a place that's not licensed to sell alcohol, but is being used as an after-hours hangout, where there's possibly, liquor flowing around from people bringing in after hours?
I consider those illegal operations. They try to get around it by making donations, to selling cups and things of that nature, but because of the numerous amount of resources to shut these places down, they're disorderly premises. As you know, when you start getting intoxicated, people that, behavior kind of causes issues in the neighborhood, quality of life is in the neighborhood. Alder Kelly alluded to that. I'm familiar with this location. I can choose to salute that demands our resources out. I think, I know that he said that he just purchased that and may have been prior to that, but, things like this, drain our resources and a lot of trouble comes with it, especially when you have after. These are illegal places.
Can I say something? I purchased this building last December, and I'm sure you have not had one police call since I purchased this building. We don't even plan to run after hours. I don't plan to operate after midnight.
This would be a question for the clerk's office regarding Class B license. Do we have a quota on those?
We do have a quota on them.
And where are we at as far as that quota? Are we close to the?
We just had an application come for the last one. Mhm.
Okay, so I guess the other question, I'm not sure who this would be for, but because there are several other items that have to be checked off before the license can be granted, is there a way that we can hold off on granting license hold off until all the other criteria has been met by the other departments? I guess that would be for the city attorney's office.
Yes, so if this committee, deemed that would be an appropriate thing to do, you could move to defer and set this off till the next meeting or for a couple meetings from now. The Planning, Heritage, and Design meeting will be on November 17th, which is next week. I don't know what the time period looks like for the health department thing, so perhaps a motion to defer or the conditional grant of license.
Those are the options for the committee.
I would like to make a motion when appropriate. I would move to defer the action on this item for our 2 weeks or 2 meetings from now, basically a month, unfortunately. Because as we've just found out, I'm sorry.
I'm so sorry, Alder Pete, there is no other public safety licensing meeting this month. There is only one more.
Gosh, I should remember that. I didn't have the calendar up. Thank you. But I would move to defer in this case until after the next scheduled PSNL meeting.
So
Because
let's clarify that, so let's find out when the next PSL, so we can kind of clean up that motion. December 10th. December 10th? That's the next one,
It is.
or is that 208?
It's the next one, then the final one of the year, yeah.
December 10th, I've motioned to defer. If you want me to read it, I want 10/90/25 to our December 10th meeting.
Perfect. We have a motion, do we have a second? Motion fails for lack of a second. Any other motion?
Point of clarification, Chair, thank you. Do you say we could do a conditional?
Yes.
Could you elaborate on that, please?
So a conditional grant of a license would say, it's like what we did last week, or my apologies, 2 weeks ago, where you grant the license and you say, if you do not open within 6 months, the license will come back to us.
Does it have to be 6 months?
That's a good question. I know 6 months is what we have typically done. Looking through this, I don't see that there is a requirement to do any specific time period. I will say once you get over 6 months, typically you're already getting into the next renewal cycle, so there's not a lot of use in tying up a license for that long. But there is no time period that I can see from my brief look through that is required.
Attorney thoughts on why we granted that conditional for 6 months?
Yes, so the, 2 weeks ago, was that there were a couple sign-offs that she needed from the planning department.
It was just that one department,
I believe so, yes.
and I believe this one has 3 different departments that have to sign off.
This one has city development through the Planning, Heritage, and Design Committee. It has the Health Department, and I believe those are the only two.
Thank you.
I'd like to make a motion, based on the history that I spoke of, I am actually gonna make a motion to deny.
I have a motion to deny. Is there a second on that motion? I don't think that was a second. I didn't hear what that was. So we have a motion to deny. Motion fails for lack of a second.
Madam Chair, that I would move to grant a conditional license that, with the understanding that within 6 months after they satisfy the requirements, the other departments, that they are able to open, not part of the motion, but understanding that these licenses are a privilege, not a right. So, if things do go awry, we do have systems in place in order for us to rectify, this situation.
Motion to grant a conditional license for 6 months. Is there a second to that motion? Seeing none, motion fails. What other options do we have?
I think those are really the only 3. Typically, it's approve, conditional approve, deny, defer.
We did not defer.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll go back to maybe defending my original motion. I don't have enough information, and because of the other committees, PhD, Planning, Heritage, and Design, in particular, the Health Department, I don't feel comfortable having enough information to say yea or nay. Therefore, I am willing to defer until we get the data. I'm gonna be data-driven to be in all fairness to all parties involved. Thank you.
Okay, so we have another motion to defer. We have a second on that?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on that motion?
Yes, I have a question for the city attorney's office. Can you, I don't know if you did or not, elaborate on the 2 committees or the 2 departments that he would have to go through and what their roles are?
Yep, so the Health Department, due to various, food-based mix-ins and drinks, say limes, lemons, cherries, things like that, and the fact that he is going to have, outside people bringing in food, catering companies, they want him to go through a food handling license. I forget the exact name of the license, but it's the Health Department for the food, that is going to be present on site, as well as the food that goes along with the typical alcoholic drinks.
Thursday?
So not the ServSafe, the city of Racine has their own health inspections based on the Health Department. The other department is the Planning Department. To operate in this location, there needs to be a conditional use permit. Effectively, there's a zoning scheme that the city has to operate in places that aren't zoned in certain ways. You have to get approval of the Planning, Heritage, and Design Commission, and it's called a conditional use permit. He goes before that next week. So those are the 2 departments.
Okay. I mean, I agree with everybody, actually. Everybody has a fair point. I think if we're gonna be fair, we have to give it a chance, but before we can give him a chance, we have to give him an opportunity to get in compliance. And so I can see why deferring the item would be the most appropriate, and then come next month, if he's not in compliance, then we have that discussion.
Any further discussion on the motion to defer until December 10th, 2025? Seeing none, All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Just so you know, I don't vote unless it's for a tie. Okay, all righty, so, Mr. Moore, you understand what's kind of happening here?
Yes, ma'am.
Looks like you're gonna have to meet with the health department and with the Heritage Committee, and you'll be back on December 10th. And you'll receive a notice from the clerk's office.
I appreciate that. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
All righty, next item, please.
Item 1086-25, communication requesting the appearance of Brixelis DeLeon Osario for a new operator's license.
Leon here. Is it Miss Osorio? So I'll let the city attorney know this. Where are you in?
You raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. You can put your hand down, and then if you could state your full name.
Brixelis DeLeon Osorio.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, the reason you're here is because there was something on your background check that would disqualify you. I'm sure everybody was able to read that. Is there anything on the police department on that?
No, just was on the application.
This is on the application. So it appears that this is an old offense from 2017. Miss, are you on parole or probation or anything from this? Or
No.
any papers for this or
I
anything?
finished that already.
When was that?
22. I was on for 5 years.
And are you currently working at a Taste of Soul?
Yes.
Been there how long?
It's gonna be a month.
And then, is it that you need to have an operator's license because you're gonna be working alone?
Correct. For me to be able to get more hours, I'll have to get my license first, for me to be able to work alone.
I think everybody received in the packet, the letter from, Ms. McCray. Any questions for Mrs. Oriole?
I have a few. What'd you do before you got employed at Taste of Soul?
I was working at a facility, city jail facility.
I kind of asked the same type of questions, so don't be alarmed. What is your long-term goal?
My long-term goal,
As far as employment, yeah.
well, I'm doing my CNA right now.
Okay. And what are you hoping to do? I don't want to assume, so I'm asking you, what are you hoping to do?
With my CNA,
Yeah.
work at a facility,
Hospital, group home?
a hospital.
Okay. And this job is just so that you can get extra money in your pocket?
Correct.
Okay. How long have you been in the customer service industry?
2 years.
Okay. Is it just doing what?
I worked at a call center before and front desk.
Okay. And over the past month, how would you say your experience has been with Taste of Soul? How so? How so? I mean, what makes it good? And how do you think, if we were to recommend approval for this, how do you think this will benefit you in the long run? Aside from making money and getting more hours.
I'm getting experience from it.
Okay.
Some questions. Any other questions from the committee?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Why was there a discrepancy or lack of disclosure of information on the application?
I'm sorry?
Oh, you did disclose it. Has there been any other problems or anything you'd like to share with us since?
No.
And this is it's relevant in terms of public safety, but it's not relevant because of the age of the original incident. Have you managed to resolve the issues that put you in that particular situation as you move forward?
A mistake I made before, and, I mean, I haven't been around those type of people, so.
That's all?
Yeah.
Okay.
I
Thank
have
you.
a question for you.
Go ahead.
Pronounce your first name for me.
Break the lease?
Wickley?
Yes.
Where'd you work before Taste of Soul?
Parkview Gardens.
How was your time there? How was your time there?
How was my time there?
Yeah. Are you still working there now?
No, I'm not working there.
You don't mind me asking why'd you leave?
Because my fiance passed away.
All right. Is that in town or, okay. And how is your relationship with your supervisors there?
Good.
Did you ask them for a reference letter? No.
At Parkview Gardens?
Yeah, like a character reference letter?
No.
Is there any reason why?
No.
And how long has it been since you've been employed there?
I don't work there no more. I stopped working 8/22.
August of 2022? Okay.
No, 8/22/25.
August 22nd of this year?
Yeah.
Okay.
Any other?
Thank you. Could you just clarify for me again how long you've worked at Taste of Soul?
It will be a month.
And how did you come about this job? Do you know Rebecca McCray?
A friend told me about the job.
Okay. So my point with that is that she's worked there less than a month, and Rebecca, as the owner, is willing to provide this letter. It's obvious that she sees something in this woman here that she believes is merited to have this kind of license. And I don't think someone's going to put their name, that they're an owner of a business, and support somebody if they had any doubt. So I just wanted to make that point. Thank you.
Does that kind of lead into a motion?
If you want, yeah. I can move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion, a second, to approve the operator's license for Ms. Rosario. Any discussion on that motion? In favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. So the clerk's office can tell you what you should expect.
So there'll be a common council meeting on the 18th of this month, of next Tuesday. That'll be the final approval. You do not have to be at that meeting. This is a recommendation of that council to approve your license. So if they do approve it, it would be sent out in the mail to you. If you need sooner that, you can come into the clerk's office after that. Common council meeting, as long as it was approved, we can print it out for you the next day. Okay?
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Okay, next item, please.
Item 1087-25, communication requesting the appearance of Anthony R. Lopez Figueroa for a new operator's license.
Mr. Figueroa, are you here? Figueroa? If the committee does not object, we'll move this item to the next side of the agenda. Move on to the next item, please.
Item 1088-25, communication requesting the appearance of Austin Lynn for a new operator's license.
Okay, Mr. Lynn is here, and, first of all, it's the attorney's office, where you in?
You can raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. You can put your hand down, and then if you could state your full name.
Austin Lynn.
Mr. Lynn provided a copy of a letter today, and I'll let him explain the reason why before we go any further.
So I received this on Friday. The address I use on file is my dad's house. I stay there, and I stay in my apartment in Oak Creek. So when it went there, the United States Postal Office has like a change of address. So because that happened, I got a voicemail last Thursday saying to update the room, but I didn't get the actual paper till Friday. So just yesterday, I had my boss type something up, which is why I didn't get it in the previous Thursday to get you guys the paperwork on file. So.
It's up to the discretion of this committee, should we decide to take this item up, kind of changed our rules, when we changed that letter that says they have to have it in by Thursday, but we still do have it.
I move to follow the original rule that we set, that since we didn't have it in. I understand the circumstances, but I want to be consistent.
Second.
We have a
We get a clarify, when you mean original rule, do you mean the one before or the one now?
The current one,
Okay.
meaning that we should have had it at the, city council.
Can I mention something real quick, by chance?
sorry, I didn't hear.
I said, I just wanted to clarify, this is move to defer to the next BSNL meeting on December 10th, is that correct, Officer Pete?
Yes,
Okay.
that should give us ample time, not an issue.
Okay,
Thank you.
we have a motion and a second to defer this item till December 10th. Any discussion on that motion? I'm going to speak to it. This was one of my concerns when we changed the language, because there is a tight turnaround as far as getting the letter and getting the information into the clerk's office by Thursday. Even if he would have received the letter on Wednesday, still would have had a difficult time getting it into the clerk's office on Thursday. Because he did provide a letter, I'm going to speak against this motion and hope that this committee would consider taking this up now, rather than having him come back in what is going to be a month.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I appreciate your concerns, but I feel that it's very important for this body to be consistent and not make exceptions. I understand your point, and I'm sort of 49-51 on this, but I'm gonna go with the 51 that says we should defer and let the system work as the ordinance states. Thank you.
We just piggyback off of what Alder Pete said, and, you know, within the next few weeks, if we want to revisit, the language in that to allow for more time, that's fine, but as it stands right now, this is what we have in place.
Can I add something really quickly? I did my due diligence. I think I've talked to you a couple of times too when I called. I've called multiple times to get an update on all this stuff. I wasn't just sitting back. I probably made 10 or 15 phone calls. I remember speaking to you vividly.
No, I don't know who you is.
I forgot this officer's name. I apologize.
Sergeant Cruz, yeah, he spoke with me, he called a few times to the police department.
I didn't know your name. I'm sorry about that. But, I did do my due diligence to get this going. This is holding me back for 2 days a week. This has been like this since I applied. I feel like I've had a lot of problems with this over something that was roughly coming up on the 2-year mark. So that's the only reason I'm trying to get this done now. This is gonna delay me a whole nother month at work. It's gonna be every Monday, Tuesday now, I can't work. So I'm losing 2 days of pay every week. This is my full-time job. So this means I'm gonna lose a whole nother 8, 9, 10 days of work just on this, the matter that I feel like is, I get what you're saying, but something very simple. I did receive it late. I did my due diligence right away prior to the last 30 days, called up to the city hall multiple times and spoke to this officer too right here. So.
I appreciate that. And I also appreciate the Public Safety and Licensing Committee, the uniqueness of it. Unlike Finance and Personnel, unlike Public Works and Services, we do have more discretion to take items on a case-by-case basis. And I hope that's something that we don't lose along the way. I understand being consistent. It's not like he came in here unprepared. He did come in with a letter, and I believe that this young man would have provided a letter in a more timely fashion had he gotten the notice prior to Friday. So that's my take. So the item is to defer it. The motion is to defer it until December 10th. Any further discussion on the motion?
Yeah, I'm just gonna make a comment. I also do understand about being consistent, but, I mean, I also feel what he's, said to us, is right before the holidays, and I certainly don't wanna hold back anybody's pay, if he has an opportunity to work.
And then I gave away, did everyone receive a copy of the letter that he did provide today? I think I gave it in mine. So we have a motion, a second to defer. Any further discussion on that motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I wanted to say something.
Okay, go ahead.
I understand both sides to this, and I think that it's more of a procedural thing for us than for you. And I really like to stick to the way things are most I can. However, in this particular circumstance, given what you were talking about, I think it would be appropriate to make an exception and at the discretion of this committee, if my colleagues agree. But in the meantime, I think as a committee, we can revisit this to prevent things like this from happening in the future. I will not support.
I guess we have two options here. You can withdraw your second, I believe, or you can just vote down the motion.
I will let it stand as it is.
We'll see what the city attorney has to say. He wants to say something.
Yes, so, if it is unobjected to by the entire body, Alder Pabon could withdraw his second. Once the motion is made and seconded, it does belong to the body, so if the body wants to allow him to withdraw it, that would be appropriate. Alternatively, Alder Pabon could vote against the motion. You don't have to vote for a motion just because you second it or even because you make it.
And just to clarify, you said everyone on the committee would have to agree to
Yes,
the seconder withdrawing his second.
yes.
So, what on that, that's something unique.
If he wants to make a motion, or if he wants to say that he's withdrawing it, and then if there's any objections, we can hear that, and then.
It belongs to this body, so I would rather just let it play out. And
We have a motion, a second, to defer this until December 10th. Further discussion on that motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Motion passes, so that means we can take this up.
Motion fails.
Motion fails.
Mm-hmm.
So, motion fails, so now we can,
Madam Chair, I have to move to approve.
second. We have a motion, a second, to approve the operator's license for Mr. Lynn. Any discussion on that motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Motion passes. Clerk's office can explain to you what will happen.
Okay, all right.
Yep, so it's gonna be another, common council meeting coming up next Tuesday. This recommendation was to approve, so it'll go before that council body to approve or deny. As long as it's approved, assuming that it is, we will send it out in the mail. If you're worried about that, it sounds like there's some issue with the addresses. You're welcome to come in and pick it up the next day after the common council. We can have it printed and give it to you in the office.
Can I make a comment? That you need to wait for us to call you, okay? I understand last time you were kind of,
I think what it was is I've been doing this 8 years. That was the first time, I mean, I applied for this license, it was like,
right, but we tried to explain to you what the
Yeah.
steps were, and it
And what it-
were a little bit more aggravated and.
I think what it was is I think there was a big miscommunication between you guys and this gentleman.
No, it was the procedure that we did, and I think you weren't understanding that. So that's what I'm telling you, like, once it goes over to common council, basically, you just have to wait for all the sign-offs. So even though it gets passed in common council, that day, that specific day, does not mean that next morning it's ready for print up. So I will give you a call, or someone from our office will give you a call, but we will try to get you in before, Friday. I just don't want you to call and.
You're good. I think the persistency was, again, the month and a half, 2 months. I've been doing this 8 years out of Milwaukee County. I've done it in multiple places. Something got held up against the line. So I think that's why I kind of was persistent. Plus, on top of that, too, when I'm sitting on something, my bills don't stop, right?
No, I completely
my bills
understand,
don't
but we
stop,
also
and
have a procedure to go.
I get that 100%. My bills don't
Okay.
stop, and we ended up having to do some cuts. So now, me getting this license is very, I've been with this business for like 4 or 5 years now.
I get you.
So it's my main source of income, so
Okay.
so I gotta stay on top of it, so.
Thank you.
Thank
you very much.
you, guys. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, next item, please.
Item 1089-25, communication requesting the appearance of Carla R. Robinson for a new operator's license.
Okay, we have Ms. Robinson here. First item would be from the city attorney's office to swear you in.
You can raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. You can put your hand down, and then if you could state your full name.
Carla Renee Robinson.
Thank you.
Well, welcome. This is gonna be a tough one, so we have nothing before us as far as the rehabilitation. So,
I can't really hear you, I'm sorry, I'm hard of hearing.
Okay, so what I said to the committee is we have nothing before us in regards to your rehabilitation for these charges. Did the city attorney's office or?
Yes, so the city attorney's office and the police department have, I think this is is this the one that we have there's something on?
3 open cases.
2025.
Yeah.
Oh, no, this is not the one. Sorry, my apologies. This is not the one. I believe it's the next one.
This is.
Okay, yeah, this one was not.
Three charges from, the still pending. First, we want to hear from the attorney's office and from the,
Just trying to pull up the email. Dude, there was 3 open cases that weren't disclosed on the application, which was the reason why it was, she failed the background just because she forgot to provide that open cases.
so there are 3 charges against you from 2025 that were not disclosed on your application. And it has been our position to deny a license when you omit something on your application, like what happened here.
Okay, so I just basically filled it out wrong?
I don't think you filled it out wrong, but other things.
I'm going for a bartender's license.
Right,
Oh,
yeah. Caller Pete?
Yes, to help with the communication. I heard you say, I'm just going for a bartender's license. I heard our chair say that you didn't disclose information about the 3 incidents from 2025 on your application.
yes, sir, that's my mistake.
What do you mean it was your mistake?
When I was filling it out, I was doing it fast at work because I'm trying to, I got appointed, manager at Charcoal Grill. We all have to have our bartending license to be able to close by myself.
I can appreciate all of that, but I gotta go back to the original question.
Why I didn't,
Yes, 3 times you did that, and, rather than me being, editorial or going to a lot of information at this point, it has been our, policy is that, we really need to, you don't have a letter saying, talking about any rehabilitation. We're very concerned as a committee in terms of public safety, and you're asking us to trust you with a very important license, and you have come before the committee, and you're in a position where you need to convince us as to why we need to trust you with public safety. And again, we have no information from your employer or anyone. What we have is, just going by the facts, is that you accidentally, in a hurry, misanswered 3 consecutive questions on an application. So that's where we're coming from, or what position we're in.
okay. So usually on applications, when they ask if you had a felony or been convicted or something in the past 5 years, I will say yes, and then I will explain in person. I always write it on applications. I don't understand why I didn't state that on the application while I was filling out the form here, downstairs. I had disorderly conduct. You guys are asking me.
Excuse me, I might be out of a procedure order, but you don't have to go into specific details as you're doing. I'm just asking you, be colloquial, help us understand why you deserve to be granted a license based on the circumstances.
No,
I don't-
I think,
Not a back and forth, but I just want to make sure you understand, because you're not answering my question.
we don't want to talk about the charges.
That's what I was saying. We don't want to know about that.
So, you guys,
So, unless there's something from the police department, we've just clarified that we want to stick to the rules. We have
Exactly.
nothing in front of us that shows of rehabilitation, nothing from your employer, nothing like that. So I think, sorry.
When I looked at the application, right, there's charges on here that show 2 different court cases that are open. There's some charges that were not placed they were not put in the application, so when I ran them, there's 3 different court cases that are open, but it also says that they're cross-referenced. So I don't know if the DA said we're all gonna do this in one, maybe that's where the confusion came in, but she does state 2 out of the 3 cases that were on here, she does have the charge, there's just 1 charge that's missing.
Okay, but if there is a charge for an applicant, that has to be listed on the application, correct? And that did not happen here.
Correct.
So because this committee has discretion, we can take in other evidence, like the rehabilitation, if we want to consider granting an operator's license, but we don't have anything regarding rehabilitation before us. So I think there's a couple options here. One would be to deny based on the omission on the application. Another one would be to defer this until December 10th, when we would have the opportunity to provide some kind of documentation to the clerk's office of her rehabilitation. I think those are the only 2 options at this point, correct, Mr. City Attorney?
There is always the option to approve, but yes, those would be the 3.
I have a question for the city attorney's office. These, pending incidents, are they relevant to the operator's license? You know what I'm saying, there are some things, even though they're pending, we can't base our decision based on that because it hasn't even happened yet.
My understanding is that, the 2 that were listed, as convictions are resolved, and she missed one of those 3. There was 3 resolved.
Gotcha.
And only 2 were listed.
Okay.
There were pending, but those pending aren't at issue here.
Okay, gotcha. I'm sorry, has a motion been made?
No, I just laid out the 3 options.
I would make a motion to defer to the next council meeting. I'm sorry, next PSNL meeting.
Second.
We have motion second to defer this until December 10th. Perhaps the city attorney would like to explain to you, once we vote on that, what that's going to mean for you. So we have a motion second to defer to December 10th. Any discussion on that motion?
Yes.
That's okay. No, we're here for.
Trying to take my cop hat off and look at this as a regular person, it's a little bit difficult. If we are going to be consistent, I think that, and fair, I think that deferring is appropriate. However, I have some serious hesitations altogether whether we were to, support you in getting this license today or next month because of your background. I don't want you to speak to the background. I just have some serious concerns, especially since we don't have any sort of letter from anyone speaking to your character.
Finish it.
I'm trying to, I don't know, this one is tough. That's it,
I understand what Alder Frazier is saying, but I would think, just like in the previous case, this committee does have discretion. We are not approving this. We would simply be deferring it to allow Ms. Robinson enough time to get that proof that we require. And normally, yes, this would be an absolute denial. However, given the circumstances, if this, my colleagues agree and we do defer, then it is incumbent upon you to make sure that you are able to provide rehabilitation proof to us. Because if at that time that there is not sufficient proof, it will be denied, or at least it will be a no vote for me. So just to clarify, I understand the hesitation, but this would allow for that time, and then also we can make a decision at that time to deny it if we wanted to. So that's, I second that motion.
Okay, Alderman
Thank you. I concur with Alder Pabon. And again, I want to reiterate, make sure that we're all on the same page communicating, going back to what I said earlier. Make sure you understand that you need proper letters, notes, what have you, from your employer, whoever else you're working with privately. That, again, to be repetitive, you understand what we're saying. You're good. Thank you.
I'd like to speak to the motion to defer, and I think it is entirely appropriate in this situation, because we can decide come December 10th if we want to grant the license or not. And I think the other thing that needs to be taken into consideration is the type of premise in which Ms. Robinson is employed. This is not a bar, this is more of a restaurant that serves liquor, and I understand the need for her to have that license, and that's why I'm glad that we're considering deferring it rather than denying it. So,
Very well put, Madam Chair. Thank you.
is there any further discussion on the motion to defer this until December 10th? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. If you have any question, Ms. Robinson, on what you need for the evidence of rehabilitation, please reach out to the clerk's office and they can kind of guide you as to what would be appropriate.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you and good luck to you.
Is that your, you want to get back? All righty, next item, please.
Item 1095-25, communication requesting the appearance of Jordan Green for a new operator's license.
Mr. Green, are you here? Mr. Green? 3 times, Mr. Green? If the committee does not object, we'll move him to the back end of the agenda and move on to the next item.
Item 1106-25, communication requesting a presentation by the Public Health Department on effects of vaping.
Here.
Okay, we do have a handout here. If anyone from the health department would like to come up
Thank
and
you,
join
sir.
us.
I'm ready to work. That's at least a quarter now.
And I'm going to turn the gavel over to the vice chair for just a short break.
Oh, we're having a short break? Keyboard to get the...
No.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no.
They only want a minute and a half.
Yeah, awesome. One.
Yeah, why?
Not the, yeah, that was the guy that they got.
Familiar, I'm just trying to figure out where I know him from.
Do you want me to pass them off?
I don't know. I just work here.
You got to be kidding.
Showed up and answered the door.
Go ahead.
I'm
gonna just sit down.
Why not? Get back.
Put that away. Get that. Are you? Go.
Attorney Poppy.
Go ahead.
Sure. I'm gonna follow along with. Thank you.
Everyone that wants one has one. I knew what you were talking about, but.
I know you did, but you shouldn't have. I know. Thank you. Keep getting me in trouble.
Just come in my ear.
Keep getting me in trouble. I got
40-minute drive.
Rector in front of me, and I got you sitting there being crazy, and I got a cop sitting diagonal to me.
And one across the room.
Well, yeah, but I can see him. I'll play cards, play poker with him.
Conversations, phone calls, video.
Okay.
Not surprised.
No?
All right, we'll just give it a couple of moments for the other 2 elders to
Oh, it is, yeah,
Cars and all the things.
Don't start. Oh,
my job.
it's like where your your microphone's on the other side. I was like, yeah, I don't know what that is.
That's, it's a tourniquet.
Out of it as well.
Your what?
Tourniquet?
What is that for?
If I get shot?
Yeah.
That's what I thought you meant, but okay.
If I get
Yeah.
to breach.
Size, was that 5'3"?
Hopefully I never have to use it.
Hopefully not.
I need that report and I need the supplementary report.
Boy, you guys in the line of fire today don't You got it made compared to what we went through.
Yep,
And like in the Army days,
If you can
we didn't even
email
have, those
Yeah.
vests hadn't even been invented.
depending on the status of the case, I might have to talk internally, depending on what the status of the investigation is. So it's something I can do right here, right now.
Well,
but-
I can go down and pick it up and
Yeah.
pay for it.
No,
Well, hopefully, yeah, you got all that stuff.
That's the thing, is depending on if it's an open case,
Gee,
say, like, hey, we have.
I'm wearing like 40 or 50 pounds, aren't you? It used to be.
The main thing that we need is.
That's still a bunch. All day long, in and out,
T-shirt and
especially
investigation on how to
busy day and in and out.
working with them to try to coordinate.
If you're using an SUV, that's even rough, because you're stepping up with all that stuff and. with my-
Run, and then we gotta run.
Oh, I wasn't even thinking about that part, but yeah, you're right.
Jumping fences with 25 extra pounds. It's a little difficult.
Did you close that thing?
I think it's Paul. She's not recording us, I hope.
I don't know.
Well, who,
I have a, still recording.
well, it's one of those
I'll
two.
leave it up to the health department.
We don't mute that in the middle of a meeting, we can't do that, it's a closed door. Yeah. I'm like, I can do that. Can do? Get back to you on that one. All right, fair.
In this instance, we can move the podium back so that the health department can be on camera if we like. Thank you, Sam. I can help you. The reason we put the podium there is so that the applicants aren't, they prefer not to be on camera, they're not on camera.
You only got 2.5 minutes left.
Sorry, no problem.
Talk to the chief about the video regarding that,
Okay,
because he said he'll handle it.
okay.
Oh, well, maybe we should wait.
Yeah, he did tell me that it's not a big deal to handle it.
Sure.
It'd be great to have that.
Well, I'm sorry, but we have to go to such a. So I have a question for the sergeant. Do you want to stay for the last item?
What do I have? I have the license premise
Yeah.
report.
You're wearing all that heavy duty.
No, it's fine.
Your, report was a little light.
Everybody's.
Which one's do you?
We're used to longer.
Okay, Alder P, we're gonna get
There's not much
rolling.
going on.
Alder P, we're getting
And I can
rolling.
relate to it.
All right, I was just turning my phone off so it wouldn't disturb you. She always gets me in trouble.
Okay, you got 3 minutes.
Go.
Comfortable there, you wanna?
Do not. All right, well, thank you so much for this opportunity. This evening, we're going to be talking about the impact of vaping in the city of Racine. Cody Pierce, who is our Director of Community Health and our epidemiologist for the Health Department, is going to be providing the presentation this evening. So at any point during the presentation, if you've got any questions, feel free, as well as at the end of the presentation, we'll be delighted to answer. All right, also, Chief Ramirez is here this evening, so, if we have any questions on enforcement or specifically for the chief, he is also delighted to answer those questions this evening.
Very delighted to be here.
We're all delighted.
In front of all of you guys.
Good evening, thanks for the opportunity to be here. As Dedicated said, please, any questions that you might have. So just go through a little bit of basics about vaping. So a vape, if you didn't know, is a handheld device that creates a vapor that is inhaled, usually containing nicotine and flavoring. Vapes have lots of different names, icicle vapes, e-cigarettes, electronic cigarettes, e-cigs, vapes, vape pens, mods. People call them by their brand names, and there's probably many names out there. There's a liquid, again, inside that is aerosolized and heated, that is inhaled. These devices, as you can see, come in many sizes, shapes, colors. Often the marketing seems to be geared towards youth, children, younger people. The colors, the flavors, the ads are all kind of appealing. People have a perception that vaping is a safe alternative to smoking, but it's not without health risks. And still there's more research needed to fully understand the short and long term. So you can see kind of a simplified diagram of the vape here that has things like a mouthpiece, a tank where the liquid is stored, a coil that heats the liquid, a button to activate it, obviously a battery, some of them are rechargeable, and others have adjustments. Comparing vaping versus smoking, so the main difference, obviously smoking involves the combustion of tobacco in some way. Vaping, on the other hand, again, is heating a liquid, aerosolizing it to be inhaled that way. Both generally involve inhaling nicotine and other substances into the lungs. Those who vape, again, often perceive it to be safer, though there's not enough evidence out there to prove that it actually is safer alternative. Vaping and smoking are both addictive and both bring potentially dangerous chemicals into the body, including nicotine, heavy metals, and other things that we'll talk about in just a bit. And again, vaping has not been fully accepted. Unlike smoking. So some of the negative effects that have been found from vaping, it causes respiratory issues. It can result in asthma, coughing, shortness of breath, lung damage, cardiovascular effects up to and including heart disease and even stroke. Addiction, again, through nicotine use, is a big factor in vaping. Potential long-term effects include mental health, negative mental health effects, and delays in development, especially if individuals are young when they start using. Again, vaping can involve carcinogens, which are cancer-causing chemicals that get inhaled into the lungs. Vaping can also result in fires and explosions. There are many people who have been injured, lost limbs or fingers because of vapes that have exploded, caused fires. Of course, as you might imagine, using a vape during pregnancy is dangerous to the developing fetus, just as it is for a pregnant person, and it's often associated with low birth weight and preterm birth. Secondhand exposure can be dangerous to most people user as well. So I mentioned that there are lots of different things in the e-liquid. Those include chemicals that are involved in flavoring. Nicotine can be in that liquid. Substances that help to create the vapor, which are propylene glycol and glycerin. Various carcinogens, which are cancer materials, are things like formaldehyde. Other chemicals that cause lung disease. Several of them listed up there. THC can be found in some liquids. A chemical called vitamin E acetate, which is linked to lung damage, and it resulted in thousands of people being hospitalized across the country back in 2019, and 68 people actually died in the U.S. because of this lung illness. Listed up there. And then various heavy metals, as we know, lead is a concern for many people in many different ways. Lead has been found in e-liquids as well as other things like cadmium, tin, nickel. So looking at data from a national perspective, among youth who report vape use, up to 10.1% of high school age students report that they use or have used vapes. At the middle school level, it's about 5.4% of students, based on this survey, reported use. Vapes now for 11 years running have been the most popular tobacco product. Not all vapes contain tobacco, but they are categorized for these types of surveys as tobacco. Years now, they've outpaced 15 pouches and just plain old cigarettes. A little bit more data. You can see the most popular types of vapes in that graphic there in the middle. Again, children often choose to use vapes that are flavored. Most popular flavors are fruit flavors, followed by candy and mint. You can think of a flavor. There's probably a vape that exists with that flavor. When I was doing the research for this, I was surprised by the variety of flavors that you can find.
Pumpkin spice? Have it. I said pumpkin spice.
It's fantastic. Over half of students, about 54.6%, reported that they currently vape with flavors that either have ice or iced in. Nationwide data in terms of adults, vape use to 2023 to account for about 6.5% of adults across the U.S. reporting vape use. Nationally, males were more common, or more likely to report vape use. Females, keep that in mind when we look at local data. In 2023, young adults aged 21 to 24 were the most likely age group to report vape use. And I won't run through it, but at the bottom you can see a graph of use trends change from 2019 to 2023 in terms of gender, age group, and race and ethnicity. Across Wisconsin, in 2023, about 6.6% of adults reported that they currently use vapes. About 17% reported that they had used them in the past, and about 76% had never used. The highest use, similarly to the national data, was among those who were 18 to 24, followed by 25 to 34-year-olds. You can see use declines as statewide data for youth. This was assessed by the Youth Risk Behavior Survey in 2017, starting in 2017, and then it's been included in the survey when it's been done. Then trends have not shown a decrease in vape use prevalence among school-age children, even though targeted efforts have been. Across the state, more than 1 in 3 students reported that they have vaped at one time. The highest rates of vaping were among students earning D's or F's in school. Over 50% of students in that category reported vape use. Those who were LGBT+, nearly half of them, multiracial female students, almost half. More than 1 in 5 students who vape also smoke cigarettes, over 20%. And then most students who smoke cigarettes, conversely, vape, over 90% who smoke vape as well. Local data looking at Unified. This is, again, using the Youth Risk Behavior Survey data that I was talking about on the last slide. But this is specific to Unified's middle schools, high schools. That outpace state. Interestingly enough, compared to the adult data, as I said, females at the local level are more likely to vape. And highest use appears to be within 11th grade. This is based on 2023 survey data. So these data are across the city of Racine and Racine County. This is based on the Racine County 2024 Racine County Community Health Survey assessment done last year. You can see, and I won't run through it all, but the cluster at the left side is the county total. City numbers is that second cluster, which is the city of Racine, and then the rest of the county, when you take the city out, is that third cluster. So you can see that vaping has a higher prevalence in the city. But the county follows the same. And usage is highest among or 18 or a little bit higher amongst females. Males, higher again.
I'm going to try not to knock this down. I'm getting reports that all anyone's hearing is rustling papers. Sorry, you're right on the speaker now.
All right, so within that survey, community members were also asked to list the 2 largest health conditions or behaviors that they felt must be addressed to improve the health of the community overall. Alcohol, drug or substance use, and tobacco or vaping was selected by 32% of people. Within city respondents, 29% of people chose that it was one of their top 2. Amongst the rest of the county, 34% said that was one of their top 2. In terms of why people report that they use vapes, most tobacco and vape use is established during adolescence. More than 70% of high school and middle school students reported seeing vape ads in a 2021 survey. There's a variety of contributing factors. Again, that includes the availability and the variety of flavors, advertising that appeals towards certain populations and demographics, product accessibility, social influences and pressures from people around them, influences in the media and on movie and TVs, just the perception that using a vape will help you to quit cigarette or tobacco use is another factor. And in terms of Racine Unified Survey data, their data show that the primary reason their students report using vapes, over 30% report that they had peer or family influence, somebody around them was using, and that drove them to do it. 31% reported that flavors or products were their driving factor, and then 17% believed that it was less harmful than using cigarettes or other tobacco. So what is being done to curb the use? Contrary to what may be popular belief, Wisconsin's current statewide smoke-free air law does not prohibit vaping in indoor spaces. However, some locations in the state, such as the City of Madison, City of Milwaukee, have enacted their own local laws to do so. The Tobacco 21 law that was signed in December 2019 raised the minimum age for the purchase of tobacco products, which also included vapes, to 21 nationwide. Laws that require licenses have helped to curb use and also promote enforcement. Wisconsin's law became in effect in 2024. According to data last week from the Department of Customer Service, there were 145 businesses in the city of Racine with a cigarette, tobacco, or vape license. Based on my count, at least 19 of those were strictly smoke or vape shops. The rest were a variety of other retailers who have that license. Laws that prohibit or restrict the sale of flavored vaping products have taken place in a variety of places. There are many states and cities across the country that have put bans on flavors. Again, flavor is one of the driving factors in people using them. So taking away flavors takes away that kind of. Also, restrictions on where sales of electronic smoking devices can take place. Some places have put a geographic restriction on where these businesses can pop up. They can't be a certain distance from middle or high schools to, again, limit access to those most vulnerable. In terms of e-registry laws, so Wisconsin is one of currently 14 states that have passed a vape registry law. You may have heard about it. It took effect earlier this year. There are dozens more that are working on a similar type of law, and basically this sets up a state-run database of FDA-approved devices. In Wisconsin, manufacturers have to certify that either they have approval for marketing from the FDA, that they have applied but not yet received approval, or that their device only contains hemp and not nicotine. For those devices that contain hemp and not nicotine, this law does apply to them, but they have until June of next year before it's applicable. Wisconsin's law also has the effect of banning, because they're not FDA approved, has the effect of banning many flavors that are sold in the state, especially those manufactured by smaller companies that, again, either haven't sought or received approval yet. What is being done at the school level locally? Racine Unified has anti-vaping and healthy behavior education that they tailor to their specific different age levels. So at the elementary school level, they talk about just making healthy behavioral choices in general. At the middle and high school level, it gets a little bit more specific, talking about the dangers of alcohol, tobacco, other similar products, including vapes. They have also implemented a program called Catch My Breath. It's supported by the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration at the federal level, and that's taught in 6th through 9th grades. And while implementation of these programs is free, in terms of the program itself, it's challenging for them still because, of course, implementing a program takes resources, it takes staff, it takes time, and those are not in ample supply everywhere. So what are some next steps? So becoming more involved with community partnerships. there are local groups working on these types of things. Getting that messaging out there is helpful in terms of curbing use. Providing further community education, supporting state and local tobacco and control and prevention best practice policies. Also talking to people about the dangers of it. Just in general, supporting policies and legislation surrounding things like amending the state's smoke-free indoor air law to include vapes, further restricting access to flavors, including menthol, which is another popular flavor choice, increased taxes on vapes, and other things. Also, supporting enforcement of local, state, and federal laws, enforcement by the police department and other local law enforcement is helpful in terms of enforcing sales, the new registry law, making sure that products that shouldn't be sold are not being sold, of that nature. And that brings us to the ordinance, 0013-25, which of course is the age restriction on sale of intoxicating products. I don't need to read the whole thing to you, but it would prohibit sales of those types. Any questions?
Well, thank you for that presentation, very, very informative. Before I forget, would it be possible to provide a copy of this to all the aldermen that are not
Yeah, of course.
committee? So that, I think it's very eye-opening for them. I think that would be helpful. Alder, you got a question?
Oh, more of a comment. I'm thinking about the similar ordinance, I think ours was adopted, the same one that Milwaukee City's adopted a few months ago. And one of the issues was getting the age limit up to at least 21. I think that's very positive. And it's eye-opening. Well, working in the school system, I might be more prejudicial, if you will, than someone outside the school system. Having been working with pre-K through 12th grade, as they say on the streets, I'm well aware of what the issues are. We've run children out, 7-year-olds out of the the school bathroom because they found a family member's vape device laying around the house. They picked it up and they copied behavior as kids do. So I think the city is fortunate for the work that the health department is doing and the research that you're doing, and more importantly, making all the citizens within the county aware of the serious nature of this issue, especially among kids, if we don't get on top of it now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Question, couple questions. One is enforcement, and I'm supposed to probably for the chief. So my question is, what do we do for proactively enforcement to make sure that?
Well, one good thing at the start here was that, the council has passed the age restriction for that, I don't think, 21 and the intoxicating products. Because of the school age, we just back up a little. Behavior has not changed. People throughout my life. I remember Tim McCray offered me a 10th cigarette. Now it's like 11 years old. So kids are getting their products, like Alder said, he said, it could be from someone, they can get somebody to buy it at 18 years old right now. Well, not supposed to sell it, you gotta be 21 to buy it. But kids get their hands on it, their parents, their friends, or others, find them, they have them, and they take them to school. The school does, I think, a pretty good job without getting the police involved, that the school has some sort of disciplinary action. Rather than get a ticket, you have to be 12 years old to get a ticket and sit at the machine. You don't have to, if you're 10 or 11 years old, usually the school handles that. They even handle it up to 18 years old. If you're a chronic user of it, you get caught all the time, then we're gonna start issuing some citation. But we do run operations with the WINS program, which is a tobacco program that's out of the state, where we'll send underagers in there to see if any stores do sell these vaping products or cigarette products as well, tobacco products, for anybody that is under the age of 20.
So the police department has a program that does that?
The state does, and they'll contact the local police department, it's called WINS program. And the state will ask us to do an operation with them. We'll use our cadets, most likely our cadets who are 17 years old, go in there, 18 years old, to go in there and purchase some alcohol. And then we'll cite the store, the place, and we then do a license, what they call a license premise. You have to have license. But, those don't come very often. Generally in the schools, we'll let the school handle it. The chronic user then will issue a citation. Someone who's, using the possession of a vape.
So Chief, this might be before your time, but there was a time when Focus on Racine, one of the big initiatives that they had was to have youths go in, minors go in and try to buy beer or cigarettes. I don't think that they do that anymore. But that was a more repetitive kind of initiative that was taking place. Is there a way that we could?
We got, reaching out to like the WINS program, stands for something, Wisconsin, can't remember exactly what it stands for, a WINS program. They do that. Last one we had, I just found a letter, was in 2023 when we had, last one that we did with them. We do like to educate the public on this. I know that I'm also on the, and so is the health department and fire department, the opioid settlement advisory council, which actually meets tomorrow. That they've done some advertising, just like we had say no to drugs years ago. They have some sort of programs like this federal program here about Catch My Breath. Those things are out there and they're available. The schools, I think, do a pretty good job educating our kids with the harmful effects of vaping and smoking tobacco products, especially at a young age. It's one of those efforts, it's an ongoing effort that obviously we're always challenged with. I wish we had more time to do these types of operations, but we expect the parents to teach their children well, and we always ask for voluntary compliance with the law, and I know that's never a perfect thing.
So is there a correlation between the increase in the number of vape shops that are opening and the number of young people that are vaping?
Yeah. Well, I don't know about the correlation, but recently the city has now done some, I think, it was part of their strategic plan, where they can do some more zoning laws, so where you can put up these things.
Well, the cow's already out of barn.
I think we're not able to deny those type of things because the state allows them to open up shop. Now, but I believe the city can restrict the zoning laws of where those pop up.
I would just concur with what Chief just said from the zoning commission, which I'm a part of. That is one tool that we do have in our toolbox to eliminate proliferation of additional outlets.
So what would happen, Chief, if there was a suspicion that a particular vape shop was selling to minors? What would a parent's approach be, or someone from the public approach be?
It came to our attention, we can certainly run an operation using our staff to send in minors there, or who are underage, to go purchase some sort of vape product or tobacco product, and then issue citations accordingly. Then do a license premise for it, then you come up with licensing where you can, just like the sergeant here does it, have the facts on violations of license or things like that, or violations of the law.
So would the committee have to go through all the hoopla that we have to go through now if there is, if we want to bring a premise, licensed premise in? Do we have to do the same thing? Do we have to do the 3 strikes?
I think I'll put that to you.
Yes, so it's different than the way we treat liquor licenses, where this committee can do a suspension or revocation or not reissue the license. However, there does have to be some forms of due process. We have to tell the license holder that we are going to suspend, revoke, not reissue. We have to come up with reasons on why we're doing so. We have to allow them to come in and say their side of the story. We have to have someone, typically from RPD, though the Department of Revenue has done this in the past when there's been taxation issues, to present the city's side of the story, and then the board, having heard both sides of the story, would then vote on what would be the appropriate thing to do. So it's similar in ways because we do have to provide due process to every license holder. But it is not the same as liquor licenses where there are the strike system and it goes to the due process board. This is a license that remains with this committee.
So I guess another approach that I would take is, I quit smoking because of the taxes. Oh, that was 20-some years ago, but it was the increase in taxes that
Sure.
I thought, not giving the state no more of my money. So is there, what is the tax on vape products in comparison to what it is on cigarettes?
Yeah, I don't remember off the top of my head. I did, in my research though, I did see that there were some states and some municipalities that enacted higher taxes as a way to hopefully curb use. Obviously, it increases the cost for the user.
So, in a city, or it doesn't have to be statewide, that we implement a tax on vape that would make it unappealing to
So, I am unprepared to speak fully on this question, as issues of taxation are typically done at either the county or state level, depending on the tax. I'm unaware of any city taxes that are currently assessed for solely the city. So I don't think so, but I don't know off the top of my head. I know many taxes are done at a county level. I don't know if this is one that could be done at the county level.
Any questions for the committee members? Okay, Alder Kelly?
So I see that you had mentioned RUSD. Are you doing any sort of outreach with any of the other schools, middle or the high schools in Racine?
The private schools? Not for this purpose at this point, certainly not to say that that couldn't happen in the future. I had just reached out to them because I knew that they participated in the youth risk behavior survey.
And are you seeing a correlation, with mental health, like teenage depression? I talked to a lot of different parents, they seem to see that there's this correlation between social media, teenage depression, especially in the girls, since those are the highest in the chart, and it's middle school to high school, and the vaping, so, and energy drinks too, but that's another topic.
There are many correlations you can draw there, yeah. That youth risk behavior survey that I talked about, has a lot of data on those things and kind of tying those pieces together. And the same groups who show higher rates of vaping use have many higher rates in like mental health and other issues too, yeah.
So, for me personally, I have a daughter who's in a Catholic school in the city of Racine. And I can tell you a lot of conversations with parents, not only at that school, but the other surrounding schools. This is a huge problem with the girls, and I don't know what it is. I'm not on social media like that. I don't know if there's videos out there or whatever. But I would like to see maybe some sort of campaign or something that could be done, whether it's at the city or the county or something. This is a huge problem. I mean, I've talked to one of the doctors, and there's some really long-term effects. I mean, people have died from vaping. I mean, you can't come back from that. Brain damage that can't be undone, damage to your lungs that can't be reversed. So this is very serious, so I take this very serious when I'm talking about these vape shops and all those things. You know, and it is not, you know, I'm very aware that I'm hearing in the rumblings that there is, you know, people that are selling to children, which is also a problem. So I hope that you guys are working on that or getting somebody to work on that.
There's any particular store that you have complaints about, or you heard from parents or others that certainly that the police department would like to.
Kind of, picking off on what Alder Kelly pointed out, and another comment someone just shared with me. Very similarities here between what they call THC products, the THC legal drinks, we just passed the ordinance with that. But these are kind of cousins of each other. In the high schools, young ladies are drinking these energy drinks that are laced with some kind of similar type of product. The other big issue is that you don't have to worry about buying it here in Racine. You got a friend in Kenosha, you can go down to Illinois and buy it. So that is one of the big issues that a city in the middle like we have, or even the county, has to deal with. They can go next door to our neighboring states and get the same product, different sets of laws. Just a comment.
That is a challenge. I can just say, in my personal life, I know many people who use vapes. I do not, but when this law passed this year, they were talking about, well, we'll just go to Illinois to do it. As you said, it's not that far, and you can access products that you can't access here anymore. That is a challenge.
This is just a comment. So when you send this presentation out, can you also send all of the links with the data?
To the survey data?
Yeah,
Sure.
so that we can do that as well.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
So does the health department partner with Unified in some way to educate and provide resources to Unified?
So we are not currently working with Unified on this effort. We do sit with a couple of community organizations focused on community, Children's Collaborative on Mental Health, who are not necessarily fully targeting this, but some of their efforts work in this area.
Does that outreach also go into the non-unified schools?
It does, yeah.
Because other residents, children from the city of Racine are going to Unified or going to a private school. They have access to the same kind of information regardless if they're in public or private.
Absolutely.
Same community, I agree.
Any other questions from the committee members?
I know that I've reached out to several state representatives to see how we could get statutes changed to be able to restrict or regulate these kind of products more, and, I mean, as fast as the state legislature moves, I mean, within a decade or so, but hopefully sooner. I mean, we already know it's in the schools, we know it's with the community. And now, more than ever, especially with social media and TikTok, all these things, the youth are more impressionable than ever, so, you know, if it's something that concerns you, I would always recommend reaching out to your local elected officials, state representatives, let them know what's on your mind. So, I mean, it's really, once the voice of people gets loud enough, and there's no ignoring it anymore. And then, yes, they can go to Illinois, yes, they can go, you know, wherever. We can't really control their laws, but we can hope that we can work in cooperation with them to make them to pass similar laws. And it's going to be a slow process, but if we stay aware, we understand, and we're better equipped to handle it.
One thing the legislature does work quickly on is that's taxes.
That's true.
So,
Nothing is
I think we could encourage them to tax the, yeah.
We're taxed on that stuff.
Well, thank you.
Well, I want to thank everyone here for the fine presentation, Dr. Kate. Thank you.
You should leave it there, because if I rustle my paper.
Don't be rustling.
I'll try not to, I promise.
See, it might be best, I was getting reports so much better where it was, so.
Okay.
Yeah. I think you can pick us all up over here, but we're too close to something like that. It wants to prioritize it.
That's why, well, I don't get on the I think that a lot of jobs and stuff. And I think we gotta see less applications for the licensing file. Yes. Oh, absolutely. Thank you. She used it first time in long. I'm not sure who she's with, because nobody's here, but.
Do we have a motion? Any discussion on the motion to receive the file? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Next item on the agenda, please.
Item 1107-25, communication requesting an ordinance that sets a maximum safe temperature limit for indoor common gathering spaces and housing for older persons.
Okay, Alder Townsend, did you want to come up and speak to this, or everyone have an opportunity to read the ordinance? Oh,
Make a motion.
Second. Then we'll We already covered it several times. Second.
We have a motion second to approve the ordinance presented by.
There has been an amendment from the ordinance that was in the packet with different numbering based on some actions and ordinances that passed at Common Council last week. So when we are moving to approve, I would ask that it be the ordinance, I believe Attorney Curtis might have a new copy of it. It was to reflect the changes that were made, numbering things.
Oh,
So the
now this-
revised version.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Clean version, you can just pass it around.
So this is Attorney,
My name is Matt Purse.
Nice to meet you.
because the code rewrite we did.
okay, so would the attorney first like to speak to the,
Oh.
Revised version.
would anybody, yeah, the revised,
Yes, very briefly, because of the passage of the new Chapter 19, which is the new property maintenance code, which moves a lot of things from Chapter 18 into this new Chapter 19. When this ordinance was drafted earlier this summer, we put it right in the center of everything that got moved. And so all of the penalty provisions, all the things that kind of connect to it for enforcement have now been moved. So we're just moving this along into the new Chapter 19. The penalty will remain the same, up to $1,000 for a violation. The slight change in language, as it was previously under Chapter 18, designated as public health, essentially the public health officer as the enforcement person. How that's been interpreted is that you have a designee. That's how NED does a lot of this work. By moving it into Chapter 19, we just changed that language to code official, which encompasses public health, as well as neighborhood enhancement division, the building inspector, and also I think the director of state development. So that's the only somewhat substantive change, is that language of going from adding the code official language.
I do have a question for you, and that was in regards to the temperature. So I noticed both in the original and the amended, it's still 81 degrees. Is there a reason why it would be so high? And is that detrimental to the health of older people to have temperatures at that degree?
I would point out that when we were discussing this ordinance, that was the thought, that no matter what temperature we put in there, there's going to be a question about it, but I think other towns have had a good reason for his choice.
Yeah, we went with 81 degrees because that's what they currently use for for federal stuff. So the range for federal buildings is 71 to 81 degrees for Medicare and Medicaid, those kinds of places. So we figured 81 was a good kind of starting point with that. On the support sheet that I have attached as well, it just goes a little more into depth, and I'm happy to share some more of this information with you guys. But it's right around between 80 and 85 degrees that it can really start to do wear and tear and just overall not good.
Don't you think we could reduce that from 81 to 78 or 75?
Be my guest, but we didn't want to start too low with it. We wanted to just find a good baseline, and we wanted to expand from there down the road or anything we could, but we just wanted to get the ball rolling.
So what do you think it would take to amend if we approve this ordinance change at 81 degrees, and if we found that still is a dangerous temperature for older people? Would it take a lot to amend temperature? Can we have a lower temperature than what the federal the guidelines are?
Yes, there's nothing restricting the temperature limit. I would point out that the key part of this ordinance is we can't change building structure because that's regulated by the state. So we're not talking about how it's cooled, just what the temperature is. And there is some play there in terms of what you can do. This particular ordinance has been provided to the state already to the Department of Safety and Professional Services and their legal counsel to see if they would have any issue with it, and they don't. But I don't think that is related to the temperature. That's just related to the other language of the ordinance.
Questions from?
If we do decide to lower, do you see any legal hurdles, anything that would prevent us from either doing this or we have to change it back to 81 anyway?
Is there the possibility that you're going to have a housing for older person that's going to be receiving Medicare, Medicaid funding, that they would say, look, the feds say this is what the limit is, and you're going below that, and there could be an attempt to argue preemption in that? I see that as a possibility.
But I don't know if, outside of that scenario, I don't think there would be anything that would be restricting you.
Well, perhaps Alder Townsend could speak to how this ordinance came to be and what it was like for the constituents that he represents.
Yeah, this all stems from the beginning of the summer. I got a lot of phone calls from a facility. Once I got there and I was trying to interact with them, it was, I think, 89 degrees and 84% humidity. And you're in the hallway trying to talk with people and they can't even talk to you. They have to like stop just to catch their breath, and it was very frustrating. The city was getting calls, and without something like this in place, the city really they can't do anything about it. So this is just really, hopefully, gonna be a really good tool to help set a baseline and just make sure that in the future, there's things in place that can help kind of make sure these things don't just linger, because some people have pets and they can't leave. Like, there's a lot of people who had to go stay elsewhere. They would go sit in their car during the day with the AC on until their car would have issues or something. And I mean, I don't think people should have to deal with that. And I want to make sure that, I mean, this is one of Racine's most vulnerable populations. It's a growing population, and I think that this is a valuable tool to have in the box.
Just one more question I have, but what is not addressed in here is the humidity factor, and I'm wondering if we're allowed to consider that, because sometimes 81 degrees is fine if it's not real humid. So is that something that could be incorporated into this ordinance?
Yeah, so one of the things that, when we were looking into it, the reason, at least one of the things that we stuck with just temperature is once you start measuring like wet bulb and humidity and everything like that, it gets a lot harder enforcement-wise. They need a whole new set of tools for it. So this was really just kind of trying to establish a baseline, and then we can always expand from there. I mean, I'm excited even just to hear all the ideas from the colleagues and everyone else I've talked to along the way with it, so.
And thank you, Madam Chair. I'm in full support of the measure. However, I agree that if we could amend it, if it's possible, so that there is some variance, and if you make me, I'll explain why I want to put it that way. Between, say, 78 and 81. Nobody's twisting my arm, but I'll say why I think variance would be good if possible, because of building structures. I know a little bit about structural engineering, et cetera, et cetera. For example, this particular building, an older brick building, will hold heat and humidity and moisture, and it will feel differently than a newer, modern, energy-efficient building. A building that's less structured with windows that need not up to date, what have you, will give you more exposure. The location to the lake, all these environmental variables will affect how the people's comfort level within the building. Mm-hmm. 81 here might be different than 81 over in Mount Pleasant, close to the Highway 31 or something. Same thing, but you got different lake effects, et cetera. So that's why I'm arguing, I would say that a variance, if reasonable, would make sense.
Yeah, I think one of the reasons too that I understand completely what you're saying with like the variance. We just wanted to make sure that this is actually enforceable too, and you know what I mean? Like, we just don't want to have them like, okay, well,
we don't want to get
1951 for the win, and trying to do the math. But I fully agree. It would be nice if we could, stage it like that, but.
I'm curious what hurdle you see, because if you have a variance between 78 and 81 degrees, I mean, a thermometer would work just fine. So what particular issues would you see if you did have a variance? Or if you could answer.
I think as Alder Townsend mentioned, the enforcement issue. If it's 78 to 81 degrees and you're trying to enforce it, as long as they're hitting 81 degrees,
they're still fine, right? So you can't make this distinction that, well, this building down by the lake should only be, 78 or 81, however you want to think of it. So if you do a range, that higher range is what they're allowed to get up to. So you could still 81 degrees, quite frankly.
And so you're saying it wouldn't really matter?
I think the point you're trying to make is kind of getting back to that wet bulb temperature, where you're trying to get in maybe the humidity or some other kind of factors of how it feels. Yeah.
The construction of the building itself, condition.
I don't know how they would be expected to enforce that, because really, they have a temperature.
No, I understand that. All I'm saying is, if my tenants are comfortable at 80 in this building, but they're more comfortable at 78 in a different building, why not allow the operator the flexibility to make their tenants comfortable?
Well, this is more so just setting a high temperature limit. So this is just saying it can't be over 81. You can keep it at 60 all summer if you want to pay for it. Yes.
There is state statute that says it has to be heated up to 67 degrees, so there's a floor. There's just not a ceiling.
I didn't get the floor part. Okay, we're good.
I understand now what yeah.
Okay. I support my second motion maker still.
I thought we had a motion.
We do.
There is a motion on the floor.
I just said,
Someone had to remind me, I'm always.
we moved, that's why I made the comment.
We have a motion to approve the ordinance as amended and presented, and a second.
Yes.
Okay, any discussion on that motion? I just have one question, and that is in regards to the fee schedule. So we put in the budget this year what we might charge people?
There is a forfeiture amount in chapter 19.
There is.
Yes.
And that's something we met.
It's applied to everything for code officials, so it can be enforced by public health, by a building inspector.
Thank you. All right, motion second, any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. And many thanks to all the council. I know you worked very hard on this.
Well, I appreciate it. I think it's really funny how much time goes into just having this one page of.
You're not getting a raise.
I do. I feel for the attorneys, because they're in the city. There's a lot that goes into.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Alder Townsend. All righty, next item, please.
Item 1094-25, communication for the licensed premise report.
Yeah, I have that here somewhere. I wonder if something that comes out.
All right, Paul, Wisconsin, still, we're having caution over there. Issues are usually resolved by the time we get there. As you can see, we don't have anything for the 31st. It was a busy night for us that night, but everything that came out wasn't tied to a bar, which is the reason why it's not in the report. But there was a lot of calls for service, which is a lot of fights and stuff that were happening in the street, but not tied to a specific bar, which is the reason why they're not on here. Doobie, same thing, the parking lot, big plaza, that it's hard to say that everything is from Doobie. There's multiple calls that happen at Doobie, but I try to filter to make sure that it's only the ones that we can say is 100% for that bar. And then the Select 627, shots fired, 2 people were struck. There were casings that were recovered in front of the bar and also at an intersection of 11th and Pearl. Search warrant was drafted. They did locate a firearm, marijuana, multiple bullet fragments, and the DVR system was confiscated from the bar.
Can you clarify for me? Is it marijuana was not inside the bar or right outside the bar?
The items that were located inside the bar were a firearm, marijuana, bullet fragments, and also the DVR system that was recovered. And then through the investigation, the shooting, it was learned that staff was advising patrons to tamper with the digital evidence. That's all the info I have right now, because the investigation is ongoing. The limited info I'll be able to provide for you guys.
Well, I think this is plenty of it. I'll repeat.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Are they still out of They're still dealing with the attorney's office. Because they were supposed, you know, they're, they're not even supposed to be open unless, to my knowledge.
So they were suspended beginning on August 20th, 2025, going through September 19th of 2025.
Oh, so they're, okay.
So at the time, they were able to be open as long as they were operating within state and local law.
So were they suspended or they were voluntarily closed? Or is
So
there a difference?
They had both.
They had voluntarily closed until the suspension went into effect, then the suspension ended, and then they had reopened sometime after that.
Okay.
Because, I'm sorry,
Go ahead.
just because they already had some things and they've gotten suspension and stuff, if you were to, file a formal expression of concern, that kind of a strike, one strike, or in addition to the other strike?
It would be in addition to, the other strikes. That's accurate, but I believe it would be in addition to the other strikes.
Arjun, you said that there were people that said they were encouraging them to tamper with the digital evidence?
Yeah, throughout the investigation, it was, people made statements that staff has advised patrons that that's what the
You have that, you have those things confiscated.
Yeah, as far as who provided those statements, that's all.
But I mean, you have their system.
Yeah, we have their DVR, yeah.
You have that, yeah.
Is the issue at Marenhofer resolved, still in there?
Yeah, reference that report, the parties were actually taken into custody today. He was arrested earlier.
I have a question on the corner kick club. Where is it?
13th and Wash.
Never heard of it? No. Oh, my God.
Roger, it's
My children,
Is that your district too?
I'm only allowed one bar.
Get it together.
I'm working on it.
they're only enough fast and you can even find.
So there were citations issued at corner kick.
Well, there was follow-up, so when the officer responded, the guy had left, and then they ended up stopping him, and then the citations that were issued were related to that traffic stop, what they had, nothing with the box yet. So there was
Okay.
follow-up assigned for the tavern squad to go and do a license plate report at,
Well, Sergeant, is there anything that is not on the report that we need to know about?
not that I can think of, no.
So we could entertain a motion to receive and file to...
Motion to approve?
Oh, my goodness.
Second.
Why do I always...
2 seconds.
Well,
No one pays attention to
the
words.
somebody receives the file and then I remember, oh, no, we've got approved.
Okay, 2 seconds.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the license premise
Yes.
report. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next item, please.
Item 1093-25, communication, requesting any consideration, any formal expression of concern, or other actions pursuant to the police report.
Alder Fraser, yep.
Let's bring in Select 627.
Motion,
Second.
yep.
Third.
Fourth.
We have a motion and a second.
Fifth. Following him, and he's off, he said fifth was okay, so
Any
I
others?
followed.
Others, none? So we have a motion second to call in, select 627. Any discussion on that motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. We have a couple items that we had deferred to the end. I think we can, Sam, could you?
Item 1087-25, communication, requesting the appearance of Anthony R. Lopez Figueroa for a new operator's license.
Does the committee wish to defer this and give another?
Move to
Is this the
defer.
first- Hold on, is this the first time?
Yeah,
Okay.
I didn't remember.
Second is defer Mr. Figueroa to December 10th. All those, any discussion on that motion?
Aye.
All those
I'm sorry.
in favor say aye.
Oh, I knew you were getting ready to say that.
I'm excited, I love it.
Okay, motion a second and an aye, so next item, please.
Item 1095-25, communication requesting the appearance of Jordan Green for a new operator's license.
This time we called him in as well.
Move to defer.
Motion second to defer to December 10th. Any discussion?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Before we adjourn, I want to thank you staff for your patience tonight. Clerk's office does a phenomenal job, and I appreciate it. Thank you, Sergeant, for being here. Our beloved city attorney, thank you for all your information. Questions for everybody before we leave? Now, we've experienced room 303. Do we have a preference on what room we meet in?
The original,
Which one are you more comfortable in?
the original.
Well, I like for the purposes of this hearing, because when I was virtual, I couldn't hear anything. It was awful.
Was it better, the feedback that you got?
Sam can kind of explain.
There's an issue with utilizing the phone properly, I believe, for it. I don't know that it's different between the two rooms, to be honest with you. The committee's choice, but I believe that it just depends on where the placement of that phone dialing into this Zoom call is. Yeah.
But you said placing it there was much better.
It did help this time, yes, yep. Trial and error, first time in the room.
For other people to hear, that's the most important thing to me. I don't care where we do it.
So where we, what's unanimous, here or there?
Well, I'm trying to get your thoughts on that.
I'm fine downstairs.
Sam, do you think that we can hear as well down in room 207 as we can in 303?
I think with proper placement of the phone, as long as it's working correctly, I mean, if it's in the right place and it's dialed into the Zoom, it should be the same.
I would encourage us to go home. Look at the one from 2 weeks prior, listen to that, and then listen to this one.
Yeah.
So when we meet on December 10th, do we want to meet in room 303 or in 207?
Sometimes 303.
Okay. Then we'll do it in this room. Okay. Well, thank you, everyone. Good meeting.